Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for having me today. Um, I was asked to talk to you about how to win because we were lucky enough to win the APG Grand Prix last year for work on Libresse and Bodyform, and this has made us hugely proud. So it's an honor to just be invited to give you a few tips and some perspective on our experience and journey on that. The first thing that you'll have heard is there's a sort of double process of written submission first and live presentation. The written submission is 2,000 words, and I won't bore you with it because you can find our paper available already. I think the only thing to say was, for us, it was extremely hard and frustrating because we wanted to fit a few years worth of work within one paper, and it was extremely hard to make it fit into it because there was so much we wanted to tell. And then the second thing was the live presentation. When you're lucky enough to be shortlisted, you get into the lion's den and you present, you make your case, and you've got 6 minutes that are very short to present. And it's not to represent your paper, it's to add some more information or things you might want the jury to know about that you didn't have a chance to land in your paper. So for today, what I'd like to do is give you a few insights into what we did present in that live presentation, and then some more general tips and lessons we learned about the overall process that might be helpful to you. So when it came to that live presentation, what we decided to do instead of repeating the paper was giving a few hard-hitting points about what we had personally learned on our journey of Les Fearless through our different campaigns of Red Fit, Blood Normal, and Viva la Vulva. And the first thing that was probably the most pivotal lesson for us was focusing on what you can and should change, because it's very easy when you're in a category to try and attempt to address a very generic issue or pain point in the category, thinking, well, that's what it ladders up to and what we need to change. So in our case, it was all about trying to instill confidence among women. But actually, we by digging, and at the time it was everything but self-evident, we realized that where the fuck was blood? It was nowhere. And isn't that what periods were about? Yet the entire category was just having women running around, and it was meant to be about period, but no blood was ever acknowledged, and the reality of period was never acknowledged. So what was pivotal for us was to understand that unless we actively try to tackle the root causes of this lack of confidence, that shame and those taboos around periods and women's intimate health had no chance to go away. Then the other thing that was really key for us, that is applicable to this but can be applicable to so many other categories, is what we call micro-planning. And in this case, when it comes to taboos, is the fact that because shame lives in the dark, you need to shine a light in all the dark corners. And it's almost like Russian dolls, the more you open, the more you find. And the blue liquid for blood normal, for example, was just the tip of the iceberg. And there were so many more things that were wrong and invisible, like men never being involved and pain never being acknowledged, and women never being, over 20 years old, as if your vagina disappeared after that date. And actually, this discipline of questioning everything was critical for us at the strategy stage, but also at the creative stage, and being really fluid with each other to obsessively reinvent and sort of turn every stone and see how you could bring a fresh, needed perspective. So that's what allowed us to create, through this relentless micro-planning, a new creative world that was tackling everything that was wrong with how women and their periods and intimate health were represented. And this is a world that we've tried to create and recreate over and over again from one campaign to another. But I think a lot of people have assumed that once you've done one, you can just like replicate success. And actually, a hard lesson for us has been that bravery never gets easier and success never gets easier. And the trajectory from one campaign to another for us has been actually extremely hard. You hit rejections and visceral rejections every single time, because the nature of taboos is every time you break new grounds, the same rejection keeps happening. So you need to keep fighting. So in the case of Blood Normal, like so many different scenes were rejected on the grounds of pseudo decency, which we had to work very hard at redefining. But even after that, when media owners wanted to help us for the next campaign, and we showed them Viva la Volva, they all got a fright and nobody wanted to run it initially, and so many scenes were banned. So what we had to practice is what we like to call revenge planning, or RPG planning, where you need to sort of methodically build a landscape to show the problem and the injustice, to inflame others with that injustice and piss them off as well and make allies out of them. And that's been a key way of working that we've used to essentially surrender all the opponents and make them see our perspective and go into that snowball effect that we've created. And then the last thing that we talked about in that presentation was the fact that in our case, this Live Fearless journey was, far from just being about great creative strategy or great creative ideas. Actually, every single time it's been a matter of bravery, where at each step you need to push against so many barriers, rejection internally, at the agency, within SCT, media owners, people out there, consumers. Like there's a lot that you're risking when you're doing those things, and it's so easy to give up. But actually, those campaigns wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the bravery of the team and being really stubborn out of it. And if it wasn't for that, we'd still be pouring blue liquid as we speak now. So it's really important to think that your job as a planner is not just to write things on paper, is to actually stick with it and fight for it.